Hi everybody. I just want to take you through the onboards of Max Verstappen at the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Um, this may get blocked, so I'm just going to have to keep the clips as short as possible to try and reduce the chance of it getting blocked. Um, what we're on at the moment is lap 55. And you'll hear. I'll try and play as much of the messages as possible. But I'm gonna have to keep the clips really short and have to keep stopping them. But hopefully you can get the gist of what's being said, and I'm going to explain what is valid and what should be really questionable in this. Okay, so lap 55.
Okay, so the Williams is on a crane that's being moved out of the way now, but still.
Okay, so that's a normal instruction. Okay, you're just coming round to turn 14. The Williams is on a crane, but he's telling him where he needs to be on the track to make sure he's still in the safe zone.
Stay hard left through 14.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. No issues with that whatsoever. And we'll soon see exactly what's going on. And again, this is the end of lap 55. Okay, so there's the crane right ahead of you, taking the car off. That crane is going to disappear into the gap over on the right hand side. So what we know is between now and the end of the following lap, the lapped cars have to be released. Okay, because we're on lap 55, the lapped cars have to be released on lap 56, and then lap 57 can be that mandatory safety car lap to give them the chance of making it round to the back of the pack, and then lap 58, the final lap of the race, can be a racing lap. Okay, that is the only possible way that you can go racing again in this race. Okay, so lap 56 is a critical lap. It's a critical lap that those lapped cars need to be released. So listen to the messages, listen to what is said, listen to the reactions. Okay, this is critical. Now there, the marshals are out of the way, the other side of the barrier, but when we come round the next time, we'll see them this side of the barrier. And what you can see from Latifi's car camera, okay, is that the marshals, once this safety car snake goes by, they get back onto the track and are removing debris. And you can see that that's evidence from Nicholas Latifi's in-car camera. Okay, I've done a video that has actually shown that in the past. I'm going to try and pause this and just take it through to the next bit of communication between the race engineer and Max. That way there's a less chance of this getting blocked. Okay, so we're now going to be crossing the start finish line. This is completing lap 55 and starting lap 56. Okay, so we're on lap 56. I'm going to carry on forward until the next bit of communication. Okay, we've just rounded turn 1. Ahead of us is turn 2. Max has just used his left thumb to press a button. This white light on his steering wheel is illuminated, meaning that that's his communications going. There's a 3 or 4 second lag between him pressing that and us hearing it. But here goes with the communication. It will be any second now.
And his back markers should get out of the way. They should unlock
Oops.
themselves.
So Max is saying on lap 56, these back markers need to get out of the way. They should unlap themselves. Okay? As a motor racing driver of any experience, you know the rules of the sport. Now, we've seen instances where they don't. If you're a sportsman and you don't know the rules of the sport, there is something wrong with you. Okay, there is something wrong with you. So, Max will know, Red Bull will know that this is the lap that the lapped cars need to be released. Lap 57 will be that mandatory safety car lap. That's the only way we're going to go racing again. Max has just got on the radio on lap 56 saying these lap cars, they need to go. Okay?
Yep, they will once that message comes through.
Okay, so that's the Red Bull. They're pretty calm at the moment. Okay, I'm going to fast forward it again slightly. Okay, we're just rounding turn 5 onto that big long straight that you see at the top of the screen when we played this through on track of you. Okay, this is what you then hear.
Okay, so stay on line, Max. Those lap cars are now being allowed to overtake.
Okay, so he's first told they're now being allowed to overtake.
Stay on line, let them go off the racing line. I'm not.
And then immediately he's corrected to say,
Sorry, cancel that. Lap cars will not be allowed to overtake.
okay. Now why that is because at this moment in time there are still marshals on the track. Okay, you can correspond this with Nicholas Latifi's camera from his car, and you can see that there are marshals on the track. Okay, that is the reason why they cannot release lapped cars at this stage, because it's not safe to do so. That's the procedures that the sport operates by. Now, what may have happened in the past but procedures evolved, health and safety protocols and requirements change, and they are that you don't release cars to go flying around the track when there's men still on the track clearing up debris. Okay, that's the way it works. I'm not going to argue with anybody about that. That's what it is. That is the reason why that decision has been made. So ask yourself this: why is it first the message, okay, stay online, the lapped cars are now coming by you? Okay, so if Max has been told that these lapped cars are coming by him, that means the 3 cars that never got released should have been going by him. They know that. They know that Daniel Ricciardo, Lance Stroll, and Mick Schumacher are 3 lapped cars that should have gone by him. If there was an initial message to say, right, stay online, lapped cars are now coming by, oh, now they're not, what is going on there to cause that? And we can use the word confusion, but actually let's actually look at it for what is really likely to be going on. There appears to be a desperation to ensure a racing finish to this event. Okay, I think that's a fair comment, me saying that. A desperation to try and ensure a racing finish. They know what is required in order to achieve that. They know the lapped cars need releasing on this lap. And when I say they know, this is race control. No. So there is a panic in race control to say, we need to get these lapped cars out of the way. They need to be gone, right? Because that's the only way we can have a race on lap 58. But then what conflicts with that is the fact you cannot do it because the track has not been declared safe. So initially somebody's like, we need to get these lap cars gone. Come on, somebody message these people to say, off you go, lapped cars. And then somebody stops them and says, no, we can't do this. Okay? That is not allowed to do that. That is why this message comes through to Red Bull saying, you know, actually cancel that, lapped cars will not be allowed to overtake. So, right, that there means that all it means is that it's not safe to overtake. It's not safe because the track isn't clear. So at that stage, we're still only part way around this lap. It is possible that in 20 seconds time, we might get the all clear. So if we get down to the end of this straight and then going down the next long straight, if the track is clear, then that order to them lapped cars could be given then, right? So as and when it could, this track could be declared clear at any stage when it's clear. So therefore, the order to them lapped cars could be given at that point in time, and then they could validly unlap, and it wouldn't be a problem. Okay, but what do we hear from Max and Red Bull? Because this isn't, whilst there's like a panic for them that know that they've got to be released, okay, they know that the lapped cars need releasing. It's not at this stage, it's not all over yet, because it could happen later on in the lap, and it still then mean that lap 57 is the lap that they're given to catch up, and lap 58 can go racing. But what is this response? And this is the message that then gets played to us after turn 9. Okay, so the big long looping turn whereby the 5 cars are released and it's ending, that corner there, after that corner, on lap 56, I think, this is played to us, this message that is actually taking place here down this big long straight. Okay, and also the gaps in between the communications, all these gaps are edited out. The pauses, he's driving down here, there's pauses in between what Max says and what I think it's Giampiero Lambiase say. There's gaps. When you hear the message played back through what is constructed by F1 TV, them gaps are gone. They've edited this together, they've compressed it, they've picked it out, and they've chose to play that to the world. And what that does, it convinces people of a narrative that somehow Red Bull are being hard done by. Okay, it in no way shows the reality of the fact that it's not possible to release the lapped cars at that stage because there are men on the track clearing the track. Okay, and that is the absolute reason. But in response to that, rather than accept, okay, that might be the case now, it might be clear in the next 20 seconds, okay, and we'll wait to see, hopefully they can get released later on in the lap. Rather than that, we hear this.
Yeah, of course. Typical decision.
Typical decision. Okay, what is typical about the message, lapped cars will not be allowed to overtake? That's not a typical decision, because every safety car deployment that Max Verstappen has ever experienced, right, has ever experienced, he has never experienced this message of lapped cars will not be allowed to overtake. Not at all. Not at all. There has been one, okay, and that was when the car in question had been lapped twice. It'd been lapped by the entire field at least once, and got lapped twice when he went in the pits during the safety car period. That made him not eligible. Okay, it's not a typical decision. It's not a message that's in any way a valid message coming from FIA race control, because the valid message coming from FIA race control says overtaking is not permitted. It's not lapped cars will not be allowed to overtake. It is overtaking will not be permitted. Overtaking, that for everybody, is on the grounds of track safety. That is the message. That is the only message listed in the regulations of the sport. Lapped cars will not be allowed to overtake is not a message, and that's the one that they put up on the screen. And Max is saying, oh yeah, that's typical.
It's classic.
It's classic.
I'm not surprised.
And that's the message that everybody heard. Everybody listens to that, and that convinces them of something in their minds. Like I say, the decision has to be solely on the grounds of safety. So the decision of when those lapped cars, all 8 of them, is released is only made when the all clear is given. Just because it wasn't given at going into turn 5 for Max Verstappen, it doesn't mean it's not possible to happen later on this lap. But that is the reaction, that is the message, that is the message that's then broadcast to the world. What is that setting up? Now, again, that I'm going to pause this now and wait till the next communication. So that message that we've just come round turn 9, that message that we listen to is played back around about this moment in time on the global feed. Okay, it's a bit further on from this, but this is that complex that we're coming round now, and we're going into that set of corners that bring us through to turn 14. So that's what they've chosen to do. Okay, there had been no further messages between Max's pit crew and Max, right? None during that period of time. Now we are getting through to the end of lap 56. They know, and let's be clear, they know that with the lapped cars not being released, therefore not being able to pass the other cars, the leader and the safety car, prior to the commencement of lap 57, they know then the earliest that them lapped cars will actually do that will be on beyond lap 57, meaning that lap 58 is a safety car lap. Okay, that is an absolute known. It's an absolute certainty. That is what the rules and the regulations of the sport are. There is no arguments over that. I will demonstrate in my next video all of the evidence that confirms all of that. Okay, there is no variation to that. Now, they know that. They know that. We are coming round turn 14 now. We are seeing on the right hand side marshals jumping over the barriers because they've moved to the right hand side there, moved to where the barriers are. They've just been on the track clearing up still, and now they're departing the track. That is the reason why the lapped cars were not released on lap 56, because it wasn't possible to do so. That's the way the sport works. It wasn't possible to release them on lap 56. Okay, they're coming by this now. The cars will not release the lapped cars. They will not declare the track safe until these guys are off the track. Lewis Hamilton is approaching the next corner at turn 15. He's only got to go round that and the next corner, and he's on the start-finish straight, crossing the start-finish line for lap 57. Okay, there's 3 cars that are behind Max. There's Daniel Ricciardo, there's Lance Stroll, there's then Carlos Sainz in a Ferrari, there's Valtteri Bottas, then there's Mick Schumacher. So Mick Schumacher has got to come past Bottas, Sainz. He's then got to come past Max, and he's then got to get past Lewis and the safety car, because all these cars ahead of him will have to shift up first. It's not going to happen. You know, at this stage here, it's got no chance of happening. Okay, you know at this stage here. Okay, I'm going to again fast forward to the next bit of communication. Well, look, they've just come round the final turn at the end of lap 56. Right? The lapped cars have not been released. What does this mean? This means it's a safety car finish, 100%. 100%. Lewis Hamilton is now on lap 57. Okay, up in the distance here, the safety car, Lewis Hamilton, will be going over the start-finish line, starting lap 57, right? That means these lapped cars aren't going to be released until lap 57. Lap 58 has to be a safety car lap It's a safety car finish. They all know that for certain. That's what the rules of the sport dictate. That's what the rules of the sport are. There will be another message soon.
Keep working the tyres up.
Now again, due to the lag, did that message take place before the start of lap 57? Quite possibly. Okay, but you know that message must have taken place around about that last turn of lap 56. And they're telling Max then, keep working the tyres. You know at that stage there, it's a safety car finish. And yet Red Bull are telling him to keep working the tyres. What do they know? What do they know? Because that is not authentic. That is not authentic. When you know the rules of the sport, you know at this stage you're resigned to a safety car finish. That's the facts. That is the facts of the matter. You can just congratulate him for saying, okay, you've had a good season, you came so close, you did really well, but ultimately this is how the season has ended. We can look back even at the race. You were in second position, you were 12 seconds behind with 5 laps to go. You weren't going to catch him anyway, barring him sustaining a puncture or having a mechanical failure because you were lapping at a similar speed. So it is what it is, okay? But well done, you've had a tremendous season, you finished second. Okay, that's how they could have easily done that. Now some of us will argue the merits of the season because of what he was unable to get away with, okay? And we know that that's dirty. We know that he was not penalised for so much, okay? And I will at some point go through the season and show you where he should have been given penalties, and the fact that actually come Abu Dhabi, Max should have been banned, right? He should, and I'm not being sensationalist by saying as such. He should have been banned for the Abu Dhabi race due to points accumulation throughout the season. Okay, the number of incidents that he was party to, okay, that he should have been receiving penalty points on his license in 2021 alone should have meant that he was banned for that Abu Dhabi race. Okay, but the sport enabled him all season. But regardless of that, we know at this stage it's a safety car finish. Red Bull know at this stage it's a safety car finish. They've told him to keep his tyres warm, keep warming his tyres. That is not authentic. Again, I'm going to minimize using their footage, and I'm going to try and fast forward to the next communication. It's around about this point on the track on global feed that we get fed in the Christian to Michael, why aren't we getting these lap cars out of the way? Okay, and Massey then goes, Christian, my priority is to deal with this incident, to get this car off the track, whatever. And then Christian goes, we only need one racing lap. Okay, so again, that is something that shouldn't be happening. F1 TV interject with that message, that radio message between the two. F1 TV know what this sport is about. They know what the rules of the sport are, because if you're a sports broadcaster, you know what it is you're broadcasting, because you know what it is you're looking to. You know the rules. You know the rules of any sport if you're broadcasting it, because you're in and around the sport. You know what it entails. You know the rules of it, because you need to know what you're capturing. So you need to have an understanding of the sport. Okay, and that applies to virtually every sport that there is. The cameramen know what the sport's about. It simply is. And the guy that's editing this together must know what the sport's about. They've chosen that message to interject to the global public on lap 57 when they know that it's a safety car finish. They know at this stage, even if the lapped cars are released on this lap, lap 58 is a safety car lap. So that is really not an authentic time to be put in. Well, if you hear that message, if you're the editor, you just discard it. You're like, well, you know what? He might be moaning at the race director, but we can't go racing now. It's a safety car finish. You don't broadcast that to the world because it's irrelevant. We're now on lap 57. The lapped cars haven't been released yet. Even if they are released, we're going to get a safety car finish. You wouldn't play on that message, but that's what we get. Okay, we've turned turn 5 again. We're now going down that top straight. There's been nothing else on the radio to Max. Nothing the entire way down that back straight. That, as I say, on tracker view, it's that big long straight at the top of the screen. We're now going around turn 6. There's been no communication.
Okay, I think all the cars ahead of you are going to pass Hamilton.
Okay, so again, we're coming onto that couple of curves around there and on that straight down towards turn 9. So his radio engineer has got on the radio to him saying, we think all these cars ahead of you are going to pass Hamilton. Okay, so this is when Red Bull are telling Max that this is what is going to happen.
Everybody behind you will stay in position.
All right, so we've just let's go back 10 seconds.
Okay, I think all the cars ahead of you are going to pass Hamilton. Everybody behind you will stay in position.
Okay, so that is going between turn 7 and around turn 8. That's the message that then comes through from Red Bull. So clearly they have been informed that from race control, and then once they know that, they inform Max of that. So there's a lag there, isn't there? But bearing in mind, there is a lag of communication. So we hear this going from turn 7 to turn 8. But in reality, we know there's a sound lag. So actually, Max has probably heard that somewhere towards the end of that long straight, maybe going around turn 6 into turn 7, but probably more likely going down that long straight. Okay, because of the lag. The Red Bull team are likely to have known, they not likely, they will have known that earlier because they get told that and then they say, right, now we're going to tell Max that. So all of this communication, there's always a delay from somebody telling somebody and then them telling somebody else, right? So Red Bull knew about this quite a long time before it happened. Exactly when we cannot work out directly, but Red Bull were communicated with to say that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, so everybody up to Vettel are allowed to overtake Hamilton.
Okay, so that's what again is being told. And it's ending. Wow! From Brundle. Because that's when we also get the safety car in, okay? And
safety car is in this lap, Max.
Okay, so the car ahead of Max now is Lewis Hamilton. 3 cars still behind him. You've never seen it before, where just 5 of 8 have been released, and then immediately they say now safety car's ending. You've never seen that happen ever before. Okay, you've never seen a partial release of lapped cars. Okay, there might have been an incident where the cars have been given the instruction to overtake and a car hasn't overtaken. That's not because the race control have prevented them from overtaking. It might be that their communications weren't working, might be given their team couldn't get the message to the driver, or the driver just didn't understand what he needed to do. But the race control will always tell them you can now overtake. Once they've overtaken, then that safety car stays out for a further lap. So it's just been told, this is what's going to happen. These 5 cars are going to be moved out of the way. Now the safety car's coming in. That is in accordance with no rules whatsoever. Nothing at all can justify that. Absolutely nothing.
Mode 1 and Strat 1.
Okay.
Mode 1, Strat 1.
Quite blasé about communication. Let me just rewind that again.
Safety car is in this lap, Max.
Okay. You should know that this is not authentic. What is going on now is not in accordance with the rules.
Mode 1 and Strat 1. Mode 1, Strat 1.
That's how Red Bull are communicating with Max at this point in time, where something is happening which has never ever happened before.
And B-bal offset when you need it. B-bal offset.
Okay.
This is it, mate. This is it.
This is it, mate. This is it. Now I can understand the notion of G'ing up your competitor, you know, giving them the encouragement, getting them to be in the zone. But the manner in which this takes place, each will make their own decision.
Mode 1, Strat 1. And B-bal offset when you need it. B-bal offset. This is it. This is it. Strat 1. And B-bal offset when you need it. B-bal offset. This is it, mate. This is it.
So that really doesn't seem to me like a wow moment. It doesn't seem to me to match Brundle's. And it's ending. And it's ending. Wow! Look, world, we should be surprised about this. Wow! The calmness there, well, some might well applaud that. Maybe I'll do a video at some point comparing Lewis, if this one gets published and doesn't get blocked, comparing Lewis Hamilton's communication and how his race engineer responds, and compare the authenticity of the communication there. I'm not going to play lap 58, but I will try and take it through a little bit more.
Just think about your tools you need.
Or rather calm. Because, again, it's calm because they know that he's got the tools he needs. Look at the red ring on those tyres. Look at the white ring on those tyres. They know that that is enough. Everybody knows that that is enough. And he's just been gifted that. And effectively, it's just a case of, just don't fuck up, Max. Don't put it off the track, because you've got what it takes now. You've got what you need. Simple as that. Again, there's a message now. Let's see what it is.
Safety car turn 14. Remember, you're racing from the line.
Okay, so this is the advice that's come in. Okay, that seems more authentic in terms of that's what you'd normally hear at a safety car situation on a normal safety car restart. Just reminding the driver, remember you're racing from the line. That's not a problem. Okay, safety car at turn 14, telling it telling the driver where that is. Okay, not a problem. But when the World Championship is on the line,
Safety car turn 15.
okay, so we're just rounding this. This, as I said, this should never be happening. I don't know. I'll try and just play a couple more seconds, see if there's any more, but otherwise we know what happened on lap 58. Okay, I'm going to pause it just and see, just to make sure that there's nothing else that I'm missing here. Okay, I'm going to just show you on this last lap. This is the moment of overtaking. Lewis Hamilton is clearly braking to go make it around this bend. Look how far behind Max is. Okay, now the racing line for this bend is what Lewis Hamilton's on. You stay wide on entry, okay, and you try and take the apex and make it around the corner. All right. Lewis Hamilton sees him coming and has to stay wide, otherwise if he tries to go for the apex, which he's entitled to when the car behind is this far back, okay, he's not alongside him at the braking zone, but this is what Max Verstappen has been allowed to get away with all that season, right? Lewis has to basically bail out because otherwise he gets crashed into, and if he gets crashed into, well, it's game over anyway. So he has to try and just, he sees this coming. He knows what Verstappen's done. He's dealt with it all season. He has to bail out the way and then try to get him back by slipstreaming down this next straight. Now, down this long straight, Max Verstappen is weaving to try and break the toe. Now, that's not allowed. And I can't play you the whole footage. I know that what's going to happen, they will try and block this. So I'll probably do stills of which side of the track he is as we go down the long straight. But if we look through at this, for those that were concerned about Lewis Hamilton not getting to the apex, which he was on course to make at Silverstone, well, where's Max? Because the apex was all the way back over there. Now, we start off here. Okay, so we went over to the left, now we're back over to the right. Now we're going left again. Now we're going right again. Now we're going left. Okay. Now we're going right again. Okay, so there was a lot of weaving down that straight. Now we get a message warning him not to weave. Now that message didn't just arrive straight away here. Okay, that message comes a bit earlier, so again demonstrates a lag to when that he actually heard this and when we actually hear it. So when Max hears it and when we hear it. Now think about driver coaching. Driver coaching is not allowed. That's one of the rules of the sport.
Watch the weaving. Watch the weaving. Just stay on line now.
So he's been warned there. Watch the weaving, stay on line now. Okay, so that's a warning. But further down this straight, okay, further down this straight, I'll keep having to pause it. I know it's a bit painstaking, but like I say, I'm trying to ensure you can see this without the video getting blocked.
Okay, press and hold the overtake. Press and hold the...
Okay, what's this? Is that not driver coaching?
overtake.
And there's Lewis Hamilton, wheel to wheel with him, alongside him.
Just easy through turn 14.
Okay, look, the driver coaching is a bit of a non-issue as such. It's a breach of what should be right, I believe. I'm not exactly certain on that. To be honest with you, I don't particularly care about it on the grounds of it's insignificant. That is not, relative to the blatant fix of what took place. We don't need to worry about the fact that Max Verstappen did nudge his car ahead of Lewis Hamilton during a safety car period. Okay, that, if you are going to go to the letter of the law, is an infringement. Infringements for overtaking, if you want to call that an overtake, which you essentially you can, because he's gone ahead, okay, he's nudged ahead, so you can refer that to as an overtake. Let's be clear, if them cars crossed the start finish line in those conditions, which one would win? Well, Max Verstappen would have won. If in that freeze frame, that would have been the start finish line. The winner would have been Max Verstappen. He would have been classed as having overtaken Lewis Hamilton and taken a race victory if they crossed the line and the nose of Max's car is an inch or 2 inches ahead of Lewis's car. So you would call that an overtake. All right? That's what it is. Now, it's a fact that Max's car inched ahead of Lewis's car during a safety car. Other times that has taken place, the driver has been hit with a 10-second penalty and 1 to 2 penalty points on their licence. They ignored that offence. They ignored it. But even that, the driver coaching is another thing, right? But again, they'll ignore that. But the big part of this is entirely the fact that they all knew, FIA race control consisting of 10 people at least, not just Michael Massey, knew that the lapped cars had to be released by the end of lap 56 so that lap 57 could be that mandatory safety car lap, so that lap 58 could be a racing lap. Because that didn't happen, it was a safety car finish. Race control knew that. All 10 FIA personnel, if not more, FIA personnel in race control knew that. The 4 stewards stewarding that event knew that. And yet, what have you just watched? What have you just watched from Red Bull? Red Bull knew that. Red Bull are one of the sharpest operators in the game when it comes to strategy. You make strategy because of your knowledge of the sport and the rules of the sport. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. The rules changed to releasing the lapped cars. Okay, they reverted to them rules because for a few seasons they didn't do it. For a few seasons they didn't release the lapped cars. But from 2012 onwards, this is the end. The Abu Dhabi Grand Prix was the end of the 10th season where there'd been an operation where they did release the lapped cars. There had been 199 Grand Prix over 10 seasons. 20 Grand Prix a year on average. Red Bull participated in all of them. They knew. And yet, you've just heard how Red Bull talked Max Verstappen through that set of circumstances. That is not authentic. Now, I think my next video is going to be probably, unless I split it down into parts, because it's going to be mammoth, but it's going to show you some real eye-opening evidence absolutely irrefutable evidence of what the FIA know. And I'm telling you this, they know it, and I can evidence what they know. The 10 people in race control, Michael Massey, the 4 stewards, what Red Bull knew, okay? And that's going to be evidenced. Now, whether I put it all out in one thing, once I do it, it might be well over an hour long, so I might have to split it down. But in the meantime, if you don't already subscribe to these channels, these are the only authentic Formula One channels that are worth subscribing to. Now, if I come across any more that are real and call out the truth, I will add them to this list. But if you're not already subscribed, please get yourself over, subscribe to Wonderful, subscribe to FF1, okay? He's now up to 921 subscribers. Let's get another 80 people across to him and get him over that 1,000 threshold, okay? Please get yourself across to FF1 if you're not already subscribed, okay? And just hit the subscribe button. You don't even have to watch his videos. But if you do, it will challenge your mind because he has a perspective that will challenge you, okay? Some of you might not like it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter whether you particularly like it or not, okay? Some of you would be willing to challenge yourself, but if not, rest assured the guy is going to be calling out and has called out this corruption, okay? Show him your support, please. Same with Boy 10 Dio, okay? Produces long videos, but some of them are beautifully crafted. If you're willing to listen to an hour's worth of a video, okay, you will love this guy, okay? Absolute masterclass in crafting content that way, okay? Not for everybody, but again, if you don't want to listen to it, fine. Hit subscribe, show him support. This is one of the few YouTube channels that is calling this crime, this corruption out. And this guy is somebody I've discovered fairly recently. I've been subscribed to him for a bit, but I've just been biding my time and just checking that the guy's authentic, and I believe he is. Get yourself over and show some support for Lex F1. Okay, so some really insightful stuff, and he's well worth supporting. He's calling out the corruption too. Okay, so try out Lex F1 and hit subscribe on his channel. We need to maximize the audience that is actually starting to actually open their eyes to the corruption and what has truly gone on. Again, if you're not subscribed to myself, please hit the subscribe button. I need to make sure that my videos reach as big an audience as possible, so please hit like, please share them, please make a comment, because if that helps this YouTube algorithm to make it go further and be shown to more people, that's what needs to happen, okay? And please, the next video that is going to be the long one, it is going to be a long one, but you need to see it. It is hugely, and I mean hugely important, and it's the sort of thing that no media is putting out there. And that's the most disturbing thing. This is a thing that you need to all be, you need to actually have this perspective. Regardless of whether or not, whoever you support, why have you never heard the things that I'm saying? Why has no other mainstream media exposed the things that I'm showing you, and certainly the next one, the things that I'm evidencing? That's disturbing. It's disturbing that we have news outlets that are hiding the news, the reality, the truth of a situation from the general public. They are not telling you what is really going on and what really happened. They're just complying with a narrative. Anyway, thanks for your time. Hopefully this one gets published. We'll just have to wait and see if it uploads. Cheers.